call to order the regular city council meeting of June 18th. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mayor Racy,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Here.
Councilman Miller,
Present.
Councilman Webster,
Here.
Councilman Dowd,
Here.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Here.
Councilman Wagner.
Here.
Quorum is present. Item number 1 on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
Move to approve without exception.
Second.
Support.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is city council minutes. 2A, regular meeting of June 4th, 2019.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Oh, wait.
Bill?
Is there, excuse me, Mayor Racy, could he give us a little bit of information regarding this item?
This is the minutes from last.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is bid awards. 3A is approve the bid award for the purchase of 18 new self-contained breathing apparatuses for the Wayne Fire Department. Approval subject to a written contract acceptable to both the city and the vendor. The bidders are as follows: Douglas Safety Systems LLC of Sanford, Michigan, in the amount of $80,702.77. West Shore Fire Incorporated of Allendale, Michigan, in the amount of $128,679. And Apollo Fire Equipment of Romeo, Michigan, in the amount of $141,699.25.
Move to approve the bid for Douglas Safety Systems LLC, Sanford, Michigan, of $80,702.77.
Support.
Okay. Deputy Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council.
Good evening.
I'm here to answer any questions you may have. I'm sorry for the short notice here on this item. I was just made aware, let's see here, on May 1st of this resolution that not Douglas Safety, ISI or Avon Corporation brought to us with a significant discount, as you can see from the other bids. So we had to move quickly, and unfortunately, we have to order quickly because the Delta Air SCBA that is on the agenda here, that goes out of production July 1st. And then our cost will then be upwards of $120,000 to $140,000.
Any council members have questions?
Just a question, with that kind of preface, what you say, that they're going to be out of production, how does that affect maintenance and repair and preventative and anything you do with these apparatuses?
So it's going to come with the same warranty as the new line that Avon's coming out with, or any other manufacturer that's out there. It won't hinder any parts or anything like that. The parts have to remain in production per NFPA. The warranty work has to stay available per NFPA. So this is all really federally regulated.
Okay.
And I did quite a bit of research on other communities that are using the Delta Air, and all of the problems that we have seen from the Viking Z7s that we have today have been resolved with this pack. So I feel confident that this is a good purchase for the safety of our crews.
Okay.
What is the warranty that these come with?
I don't have it in front of me. I believe it's a 10-year electronics warranty. Also, each year we have our own maintenance program and certified mechanics, if you will, that perform most of the repair work. Any item that is under warranty, those items are shipped to us at no cost. And other than electronics, then everything's done in-house.
Okay, anybody else?
Mayor Racy.
One additional question, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The current units you have, and what's the plan for them? Are we keeping them, or are we?
There is no market for them.
Okay.
However, ISI is giving us a credit back.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor Racy.
Councilman Miller?
What's the lifetime expectancy on this item? When's the next time we're going to need to replace them?
Per NFPA is 10 years.
10 years? Okay.
10 years.
So that we're guaranteed in those 10 years that there'll be replacement parts if need be, so that, because I did read some of the paperwork involved in this. We did have some issues with Avon?
Avon Corporation.
Okay.
Yes.
So we did have some issues. They did give us some credit for it. You know, we did some bargaining there or counter offering there, and I appreciate that. I like seeing that. I just, is there other equipment within the fire department that we need to be looking at and evaluating what our lifetime expectancy in preparing for, and actually kind of allocating funding for it alongside instead of these kind of like, because you're taking a loan out for this, right? Are we not?
That is one option.
Okay,
One option is to finance it.
okay.
It's not really a loan, well, I guess it kind of is. They call
We
it a
gotta go to
leasing
the, we
option,
gotta go
but,
to the bank?
We
credit
do
union?
not.
Okay,
We do not have to go to the bank. So that is one option. The other option is, of course, to pay it in full, which, through the research I've done, I would recommend that we go through the leasing option.
okay.
And they call it a leasing option. It's a lease to buy. So in the end, you're owning it.
Is there an interest rate tied into that?
There is.
What is it?
4.25. It varies a little bit. It all stays in the low 4%. If you look at that and you look at the cost of the item so every year, every item goes up in cost, right? So a cost of 3 to 5% each year, these SCBA's go up in cost. So your 4% by purchasing it today is really kind of washed by waiting another year or another two, especially at the discount we're getting.
Is this some funding that we're getting through the state of leasing with that rate?
No, this is a private company.
Okay.
Any other council members? Any questions from the public?
My question was answered. I was wondering if the quality of this mattress is good or better than.
Much better than our current one, yes.
Mayor Racy, one more question, please. That 80,000 there, is that including the 4.2%? Or is that
That
plus
is the total cost.
total cost
Um,
of a leasing loan per se?
That is not calculated out over the plan because we haven't determined what the plan's going to be. So I don't have that number.
Okay. So I'm saying we're not going to spend any more there. There's no over and above associated costs with that 80,000. For 18 units, correct? 18 units.
That is correct. That bid is the bid for everything that we need to
Just
purchase.
wanna be sure.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any question in the back? Can you come up to the microphone, please?
For the 18 SCBA's, how many current firefighters do we have? And how many is that going to cover? And how long is that going to include future hiring of firefighters? Are we going to have enough for future firefighters that are hired within the next 3 to 5 years?
And so currently, we're gonna have 15 firefighters. And yes, 18 is 6 a day, and that's our goal to get back to. Of course, we're not there yet, but but it will cover the 15 and then give us 3 spares.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 4 is ordinances and amendments. 4A is first reading of ordinance 2019-07 to consider the proposed rezoning of 36900 Michigan Avenue from B4 Business Intensive to IND-1 Light Industrial.
Lori?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. As you know, the property 36900 Michigan Avenue, which is currently Wayne Bowl, has been purchased by a group. The name of the group that is buying the building is entitled Wayne Wellness. The purchasers are proposing to change the zoning of the property from B4 Business to Light Industrial. The city of Wayne was entered into litigation with Wayne Wellness several months ago, and based upon the recommendation of the attorney appointed to us by the MMRMA, we needed to figure out a way to settle out of court because it was highly unlikely that we were going to win this suit based on the things that had happened. As you know, several of the members of council were named in this lawsuit as well. Council did vote weeks ago to allocate 2 licenses to this group, one for a provisioning center, which is a dispensary, and the other license they will grant is for a grow, a Class C grow. Part of that is the consent judgment, that you cannot change zoning through a consent judgment. So the petitioner did go before the zoning board, the complaining commission. A public hearing was held on Tuesday, June 11th of 2019. The Planning Commission is recommending approval of the rezoning of the property, and this is the first reading this evening of the ordinance, and I can take any questions.
Okay. Any questions from council? Okay, seeing none. Nancy, can you come up to the podium, please?
Is this the Wayne Bowl, like the bowling alley?
Yes.
Okay. So I know that we did have a city, it cost the city $36,000 to have Andrew University come here. So some of you are saying that we haven't had a city looking at and trying to change some of our buildings and things. Are we now going back and removing all of the things that we changed? We did certain zoning through our city so that we wouldn't have any problems with what was going to be going into the city. So are we now slowly changing all of those?
Okay.
We paid $36,000 for the Andrew University to come and show us what we could have done with our city.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great question. No, the 2010 master plan is what we did. I wasn't here at the time, but that was a recommendation of changing zoning and different things, and we are looking at that currently. This property is actually located outside of the downtown. The downtown actually ends at the tracks. That was not part of that study that was done, excuse me, not the study, it was part of the downtown master plan. It was outside of that area. So we will be looking at all of the areas within the city in the very near future, as you all know, through the rezone, or through the master plan redo, so to speak, with the Smith Group.
Okay. Chris?
Mr. Mayor, Council, now that it's been public knowledge by the Economic Development Director that you guys have settled the lawsuit that was between Mr. Wayne Wellness and the City of Wayne regarding apparently recommended that this, from her own description, that we could not win the lawsuit. What were the items of the complaint that we could not overcome, that we would not win the lawsuit? What was the city negligent on that prompted this lawsuit that is now going to force us, that actually forced you all first to settle a lawsuit that was essentially, in my opinion, illegal because the zoning was not corrected before you settled at the council meeting the lawsuit that was before you? But beside the point, with all that said and done, what were the points of the complaint that were, where the city was negligent?
City Attorney, can you speak on that?
No, I'm not going to speak to that, but I do thank Mr. Sands for his comments.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I heard about the Wayne Wellness, and I don't know if it's confidentiality, but I'd like to know who owns Wayne Wellness? Is it an individual or a group of individuals? And if so, where are they located out of? And is it the city's intention to, I guess, promote these grow operations, dispensaries and whatnot? Like, I don't want Wayne to become known as, come to high and get Wayne, or I'm high on Wayne. I know it's legal, but I'd just like to know who the owner or owners are of Wayne Wellness. Is it a group? And if so, if those individuals' names could be publicly mentioned this evening. Thank you.
Do you want to answer?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the council. I had observed you in another council meeting, and I believe Councilman Miller asked somewhat one of the same questions. Who is the Wayne Wellness? Who is who operates it? Who are the board of directors? And could you, whoever this operational thing, I think I heard an answer that said that it was confidential who owned the property. I think we should look into that a little better. We know everybody else. A lot of people are here today. You know who owns the property because they're here because they contest the lighting situation. So I'm sure we have a list of who owns that piece of property, and they could answer to it. I would, in closing on that item, read to you the seal behind you. Some person said to me, and I have to repeat it because it's in line. It says Wayne, Michigan, people, pride, and progress. And I've had many citizens address me and say, we don't want this to read people, pride, and pot. Thank you very much.
Actually, two of the business owners are in the room tonight, Mr. David Griffin, Ernie Assad, sorry, Ernie. Mr. Paul Russo is also the other owner. And the physician's name?
Dr. Charles Boyd.
Dr. Charles Boyd. So those are the owners of Wayne Wellness. And I apologize, Mr. Blackwell, I forgot your other question besides the owners. Where did you go? What was your other question besides the owners? I'm sorry, I forgot.
That's why I went
I got it?
Is there, Mr. Mayor?
Okay.
If I may, out of these owners, these gentlemen, and no disrespect to anyone, do they have any association with,
Yeah, please silence your cell phones.
do either of these gentlemen have any association with any of you folks on the council or in the current administration?
I guess I'll answer that. I'm not aware of any association with anybody on the council. I mean, none of you are related to any of them. I don't believe anybody in the administration is either.
Anybody else?
Whether it's legal in Michigan or not, it's still federally illegal. Why would the city approve taking away a venue of business, commerce, entertainment within the city of Wayne, which is already a small city, and putting in a dispensary / grow house? Did we really need that, or are they being charged at a higher tax rate so that you guys can pay for the lights? That's my question.
No, we are not taking away a business. This is a business owner that made a conscious decision to sell, and the approval of this business is a condition of a consent judgment. And the business will be taxed exactly the same property mills as any other business in the city. There's no difference.
Anybody else? Okay. Just close the first reading.
Moving on to item 4B, a second reading and adoption of amendments to Chapter 838 medical marijuana facilities.
Can I get a motion for this?
Move to approve.
Okay, any questions?
I did.
Any questions from council?
I do have concerns about this. We spoke about at the last meeting. I disagree totally about removing and deregulating the 1,000-foot rule. I think that when I voted for that 1,000-foot rule, my intent was to be able to, that we had some sort of control of this new entity entering into our community and our ability to tell them where they need to set up in our community. That's one thing. My other concern is the fact, the oversaturation of this one entity in our community, okay? Another concern I have is about how it's going to reflect on our community as a whole, okay? On our home values. Are we going to be disproportionately imbalanced retail-wise because of this? Being on our main drags, Michigan Avenue and Wayne Road. So that 1,000-foot rule was put there for a reason, to protect the, ahead of a balance in this community. You know, I'm very, very concerned about, that is going to change the dynamics of this community in the future. And I don't think it's a good thing. I think we're rushing into this way too soon, folks.
Okay, anybody else? You had some answers for that?
Oh, absolutely. So the 1,000-foot rule was put in place to keep dispensaries, if you'll remember, and I'm not going to go into detail because it would not be wise, to keep dispensaries from being too close to each other. If you'll remember that it was going to be 500 feet so we could get 4. And the council ended up voting for 1,000. That is not state law. As we indicated at the last meeting, we are trying to be in compliance with state law, so we don't end up in another situation like we were in previously. I don't want any of you to go through what we've had to go through ever again. In regards to property values, I actually was a guest speaker last night on a panel in Redford Township, and it was on medical marijuana and recreational marijuana. One of the panelists that were there last night had studies that showed that communities that have medical marijuana facilities in them saw little or no property value decrease whatsoever. So that's, could have been on Facebook. I don't know. He had a journal from a medical marijuana, I forgot what it's called, not Weed Maps. I can't remember, but he had some documentation. He read it to the crowd last night. So you made a comment, Councilman, in regards to Wayne Road. There will not be any facilities on Wayne Road. That is not allowed. You have prohibited that. We've also kept the 1,000-foot rule in place from schools, the things that are required by state law. In regards to the provisioning centers, we did take out the concentration rate, but you have to remember, we can only have 4 facilities. Giving this license out, that's number 4.
Mayor Racy, I realize the voters voted for marijuana, okay? There's people that don't smoke marijuana that voted for it because they believe people have the right for recreational or for medical, okay? They also voted for the right for communities to opt out or
That's
opt
correct.
in, okay? So my concern with the 4 square mile community, okay, and you're taking Ford Plant out, 4 square miles, community that's small. My biggest concern is the oversaturation of this one industry in this community and how that's going to reflect in branding this community.
I'm not sure how that's changed from when you approved it initially to now. We're only going to have,
We're changing the
Or-
1,000-foot rule here.
okay, but you can't have any more than 4.
That can be changed. And you know what? You're already making changes, okay? And what's the next change going to happen? That's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
And you know, it's been a domino effect, okay, these last several months on this marijuana ordinances. You guys have been working a lot of time on this, okay? And it really concerns me, okay? And I think it's really going to change the dynamics of this community for the worse, okay? We are rushing into this way too soon.
Yeah, you know,
I-
We're not, we haven't got the regulations back from the state regarding how the recreational was going to be regulated.
this is recreational, this is not medical.
It is medical, not recreational.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I keep reversing it when yes, it's medical, I'm sorry.
Regardless, both
But-
entities, my issue is.
But this is only, okay,
Nancy Pride, yes, I'm one of those that voted it in, but I don't use it. But I'm not old enough yet to have it, maybe. You're saying that this is the 4th one? Okay, so now my question is, where are the other 3? If you have this empowerment zone of 300 feet, or whatever it is, in the center of our city, so is it all the other not empowered zones?
you can address.
I'm not aware of an empowerment zone, but what I am aware of is the downtown is described in the downtown plan, that they're not allowed. We currently have a provisioning center open and operating that's been there for approximately 2 years on Michigan Avenue, Holistic Health. We have a provisioning center that has their state approval that is on Cogswell. It's called Wayne PRV. We have a provisioning center that is not open yet. He's still waiting for his state approval, which is on the corner of Van Born and Hannon. Wayne's Finest, I believe that was the name of that one. And then Wayne Wellness would be our 4th. Just to go a step further, if I can, we also approved a grow license a long time ago, if you remember, for a group called Pure Clouds. And they were going to be on Van Born, and they will be putting a new building up on the land probably within the next 8 to 10 months.
Mayor Racy, I have a quick question for Ms. Going. So if this gets passed, our new master plan, this is going to pretty much dictate what that could potentially be. Because now you're going to shape this master plan according with the guidance of the ordinances that we have in place in this community, and now you're changing it, okay? So that could
No,
potentially.
this
Hold on a
is not
second.
changing zoning.
She doesn't change
Councilman.
it, the council's the one that votes
Well,
on this, and
I'm just,
me. Yeah.
please,
We're not
please,
changing
for a moment here.
zoning. This is
That's
ordinance.
another concern, the domino effect of making these kind of changes so prematurely, okay?
Chris?
Thank you very much. When I sat up there, I approved a 1,000-foot rule, and I was comfortable with that because we were talking about a lottery, and I know that has not changed. But the problem that I have is, at the time that we had a lottery, we had a staff that had been with the city for quite some time, that there was trust bonds that were there that would make sure that that lottery would be done effectively and fairly. With that being said, I'm going to say this. We settled a lawsuit, henceforth, the reason why this zoning this ordinance is, well, why we're changing zonings because of this ordinance situation and the lawsuit. Many, or at least 2 of you up there voted no on the last time, so I fully expect that no is going to happen again, but I can't imagine that it will. I assume that I already know that the vote's going to be 6-1 in favor of this ordinance or this adoption of this amendment to 838. But I'm going to tell you that I'm not comfortable with the fact that we purposely we changed the 1,000 feet rule last time from 500 because we didn't like the fact that people were reaching out to council people at the time to change it to 500 feet so they can get their land for their one development. So now we have Pure Clouds, we have Nirvana that used to be on Cogswell, as well as the Gochai, which is, I guess, Wayne's finest. Based on the old ordinance, they were relegated to the outskirts of town along in the industrial area. Now comes all this lawsuit and this murky water kind of stuff and stuff that maybe someone did something wrong that prompted this lawsuit that makes it unwinnable for us. So they can now have a premier presence on Michigan Avenue. And this is, and seeing as at least one of you have gotten a financial contribution to your campaign from this organization, or one of the prominent members on this organization, I have serious concerns with this, and I don't even know why I'm up here explaining it, because I know, and folks, you should too, that this will pass 6-1. And I ask you to watch to see who does pass to vote for it. and who does not.
Sit down.
You got something?
Yeah. I was one of the ones that voted no on 1,000 feet because I fully supported the 500-foot rule. I wish we would have never even got into medical marijuana. How's that sound? We made a serious mistake. We should never allowed anything. We should have opted out of everything. The hell with the vote. How's that sound? You know, I'm sorry, but in this new recreational marijuana, the people of the city of Wayne voted almost 2-1 for it. Absolutely. So who are we to stand in the way of progress? Councilman Miller talks about changing the ordinances. We have the power to change any ordinance at any time, strictly by a reading, a public hearing, and moving on to the next and voting on it. So I don't see that as a big deal. Yeah, I'm going to vote for the change of it, of this zoning, strictly because it was a lawsuit, and I don't see any reason to hold an entity back from making money in this city, whether it be marijuana, whether it be knickknacks, towel sales, whatever it is. I don't see any reason to hold people back from making money. That's why I'll vote yes.
Mayor, oh, no, go ahead.
It's funny that you would bring that up, because there was one time next to the Dairy Queen, very close to the high school, a tattoo and body piercing store wanted to go in there, and you folks, not particularly all of you, but the council got rid of them.
May I comment on that?
Sure.
Mrs. Pride, I didn't vote on that, but I pushed. I talked to the owner of the building, and I talked more than once to the owner of the tattoo shop that wanted to go in there. And I fought council, and I fought the mayor at that time on it. It was not Mayor Racy.
But please don't tell me as a council, because most of you know and knew of the other people that were council people and their attitudes about our town. So please don't tell me. No, you probably didn't vote on it. But they say one thing, they can't get rid of something out where I live. But as soon as something that isn't in their parameter and their church, it gets gone immediately.
Mayor, if I may, my understanding of this is that we're aligning ourselves with the state policy on this. A blanket of the state,
So they could sue us.
so they can't. It's in accordance with, we are currently not in alignment with the state policy on this. At our last reading on this, our lawyer indicated clearly that these recommendations put us in line with the state going forward. We've already voted that it's medical marijuana in our city. I think that we have the longstanding policy to go with the state policy. It's okay to say we made a mistake and we need to make a change. Coincidentally, you could say the same thing about the 1,000-foot rule, that maybe somebody was doing that for the exact same reason as somebody was saying the 500-foot rule today. With that, I'll stop.
Mayor Racy, clarification, please. Okay, when you say getting in line with the state, they have some guidelines, but not necessarily each community has to follow those guidelines. They can be within those perimeters, but they don't have to be, they're just giving a range of guidelines to set forth in general. But we as a community make our own decisions. We don't have to do exactly what the state wants us to do, okay? There's a difference, is that correct?
Lawyer would answer that.
I did not handle that litigation. MMRA appointed an attorney to handle that. My understanding is that the current marijuana ordinance had some issues that were addressed in the court. So Mr. Hitchcock from our office worked to try to remedy a number of those and bring the city's marijuana ordinance in line with the state. So it would, to the extent we're able to, try to immunize the city from further lawsuits on this ordinance. Is it aligned with the state, every single chapter and verse? Mr. Hitchcock would be able to tell you that. But my understanding of it is that we are in a much stronger legal position with the new iteration of the marijuana ordinance than the one that is currently in effect.
My recollection is they went line for line and even talked to us, and it's on video, and indicated there was discussion on this matter where we said, do we have to do it all? Can't we do pieces? And it was his recommendation, the lawyer, that we do it all. Get it clean, get in a line, and move forward.
Okay. Mark? Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Just to satisfy my own curiosity, memories are coming up here. Ms. Gowan said that one of the gentlemen is David Griffin. Okay. May I ask, is Mr. Griffin related to someone that used to be a lobbyist for Wayne County? Is that, no? Okay. Just wanted to clarify that, Mayor.
Okay. Am I calling people twice now?
Thank you again. To the two investors and to the.
You need to talk through me, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I have a question. Are the two investors for this business, are they even Wayne residents? And what is their interest other than just a building for the city of Wayne?
Yeah, this is just the ordinance.
All right.
Okay.
Please go back probably 4 meetings, and there was a lady here representing Wayne Wellness. And she promoted that she had this $1 million organization set up for marijuana, whether it be medical or the other one. What I have concern is I don't hear much information about, it sounds like the city, Wayne, they gave you an option. They told you, here's the deal, you take it this way. They're trying to strong arm the city by some legal action. Mr. Hitchcock never mentioned any of that information at the last meeting that was recorded here to the citizens. And I think some more information about the legal, we've always talked, and the city manager has, been about the word liability. So as somebody did mention, what did we do wrong? What did the city do wrong to cause a liability for them to go to court? Okay, I'd like to know what Wayne Wellness charged us city officials with doing wrong. Seemed like you followed the book, you had your meeting, and everything was there. So I'd like to know where Wayne Wellness seems to trump the card and is calling the shots. Old phrase, dog wagging the tail or the tail wagging the dog, okay? Thank you.
This is even about,
Mayor, may I call the question?
you can.
Okay.
Call the question.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure.
So the motion on the table is to approve the amendments to Chapter 838 Medical Marijuana Facilities. Are you in agreement, Councilman Wagner and Councilman Webster?
Yes.
Okay. So a roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
No.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy.
Yes.
We have a 5-2 vote, motion carries.
6-1.
I'm sorry, 6-1, motion carries.
Go ahead and move the agenda.
Item number 5 on the agenda is boards and commissions. 5A is to accept the resignation of Ronald Hayes from the Commission on Aging.
Move to approve.
Support. Any questions for the council?
I just have a statement. Can we send a letter of thanks to Mr. Hayes for his
Absolutely.
service on the commission?
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's not, we're not at that point.
Moving agenda, item 5B, reappointment of Lynn Scott to Wayne Historical Commission until July 2022.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5C is the reappointment of Don Quarles to the Wayne Planning Commission until July 2022.
Motion to approve. Support.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6 is communications and reports. 6A, letter of gratitude to Department of Public Works regarding the care given to the upkeep of Glenwood Cemetery. And I have that letter here, if I could please read it.
Yes. Go ahead.
This is from Mr. Martin R. Parker. And it reads, Dear Department of Public Works, I would like to express my sincere thanks to everyone in the department who provides loving care to the Glenwood Cemetery. My wife and I had selected Glenwood Cemetery because it was close to our home on Laurenwood Street. After my beloved wife passed on February 2nd, 2019, I followed up and had her buried there with an adjoining plot for me. I knew very little about the cemetery before Brenda passed, but I have been impressed with the devoted care I have seen since February. I was particularly moved during Memorial Day when new topsoil and seed was placed on all the recent graves. All trees and bushes in the area were trimmed and the grass was manicured. It is very difficult to manage when a wife of 56 years passes, but you helped me very much with your devoted attention to the cemetery. I know it has not been easy to run a city and department in these continuing days of limited resources, but what an outstanding job you are doing. Thank you so much, Mr. Martin R. Parker, Jr.
Ed, I'm assuming you post this. If not, could you post this in the department? Okay, thank you.
And then 6B is proposal regarding senior resources. So, to accept and file?
Jeremiah, do you want to speak on this?
Do you want to talk about it now, or you want me to wait till my comments and talk about it? Doesn't matter. Okay.
I think.
All right, I'll go ahead and talk about it now. That's fine. As everyone's aware, the decision was made to dissolve the Senior Services Department, and that's going to be effective June 30th. There's been a lot of questions about kind of how we're going to be moving forward. One of the first questions was, what is the role in regards to the Commission on Aging? So there seems to be some confusion in terms of does the commission need to be dissolved per ordinance 282. We've been through it. We've had the city attorney look at it. It was his opinion that there's nothing in there that says that the commission needs to be dissolved. So myself and members of the administration did meet with the commission recently, and we did let them know that we'd like them to continue. So at this point, I think that would be up to them whether they would like to continue serving and, work along with administration to create positive outreach for our seniors as we move forward. Now, as far as what we're going to be doing, we are going to be working on sending out a letter by the end of the month that is just going to be outlining what the changes are. Initially, what we were going to do is have the information in there. As we kind of researched it, though, I think we found that it was going to be far too costly for what we have allotted to us in order to send that out. So we are going to still be sending the letter along with a magnet. Will have some information on it in terms of resources. And then we are going to have a resource center that's going to be at least here at City Hall. Are we going to have it other places? Okay, in the vestibule. So it'll have different information that seniors would need in terms of healthcare, legal services, things of that nature. And, as we move forward, we will, add or delete things from that, as we, see from whether it's Commission on Aging or other places that, what is the best, most utilized information that a senior would need to utilize. Now, with the letter that we're sending out, this is not coming out of the $5,000 that we allocated for the memberships. There is a communications budget that is put aside exactly for this item. So this will be something separate from the money that we set aside.
Okay.
I got a couple more things.
You paused.
I was just turning the page. So we'll have the mailers, we'll have the flyers. We will have some information also, aside from the resource center. We'll have things at City Hall, Wayne Police Department, B&E. So there will be other places that this information will be available. We've also discussed better utilizing our cable station. I think it's something that we woefully underutilize in the past year. So we are going to be doing some things with that. Also, the city website, we are going to be designing a web page that's strictly dedicated to senior information, links, applications for the Dyer and both the Friendship Center. So, and again, as we move forward, it certainly would be helpful to get some constructive criticism from the community about what we should have on there, what we need to remove, things that we can do better in terms of utilization. Another thing, we are working on gathering emails so we can do email blasts, again, get some of that information out to our senior population. As Councilwoman Skiff brought up in her comments when we voted on this, one thing that we wanted to offer our seniors is a membership to either the Friendship Center in Westland or the Dyer Center. These both are $12 per year. The Dyer Center is subsidized through your taxes, so it is something that we would like you to utilize more if you are a senior. With the small budget that we have, though, unfortunately, we can only offer one membership between the Friendship Center and the Dyer Center. So I do hope that somebody takes advantage of it, and we do look forward to your feedback, and you can tell us how these things are impacting you, and definitely we can look more into that as we move forward. That's all I have right at the moment.
Any other council members? Do you have anything?
Can I ask questions?
I guess.
Okay, a few questions here. With regards to the pending grant from Senior Alliance or from the county, will that be null and void because we now dissolved senior services?
I'm glad you mentioned that. I actually saw, I was at a CWW meeting in Plymouth on Friday, and somebody from the Senior Alliance came up to me afterwards and told me that we will be receiving zero for that grant.
So it'll be null and void.
Yeah, we will not be receiving anything.
Another question, and I recall in your last meeting, I really didn't catch all of it, but you had brought up something in regards to some information regarding in Lansing with regards to the senior citizen services. Can you elaborate on that for me a little bit, please?
I'm not sure.
I remember at the last meeting you had brought that up, you made that comment. Okay, we'll move on then.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Also, I'd like to know is, who's going to be overseeing this lot of fluff here, but no substance. I haven't heard any substance. Who's going to be running it? When you talked about,
I can answer that first.
okay,
We don't have a department. I mean,
correct.
nobody running it.
So we're just putting out information. This is just really things that people can already do already. This is not a senior services program. You're just putting together a lot of kaboom. Yeah. And there's nobody really overseeing it, guidance or direction, or people can go to.
We voted on that already. We're
I'm
already
not talking about what we voted on. I'm talking about.
Well, that's what we already, I mean, you should already know that answer. I'm not
Excuse
exactly
me,
sure.
excuse me. I'm asking the questions right now, okay, please? Okay, so I'm asking you what I'm asking you is, you're telling me, so there is nobody overseeing this whatsoever? Meals on Wheels, et cetera?
No.
Is that correct?
You want to speak on this, or?
Well, you should know, Councilman Jeremiah. I mean, you're the one that met with the Aging Commission. You had the information to provide for them. They, as you stated, they were very receptive to what you had, the information provided them.
Let me tell you something, Councilman. I showed you the respect, you better show me the same back.
I am, and I'm asking the question.
Understand? 'Cause
Okay,
I'm not
so
going to sit up
please,
here and put up with
Don't take it
that.
personal. I'm here to take care of business for the city of Wayne.
Yeah.
Right now for the citizens of this Wayne, of
Go ahead.
senior citizens.
No, what you're doing is showboating, so don't
No,
make
I'm
it
not.
something else
No,
it's
no,
not.
I'm just being
Through the
straightforward.
chair, may I
Yes,
answer your
you may.
questions?
Point of
Councilman?
order, come on.
I can help out with that. So we were told several weeks ago that by the council, we were directed that there was going to be $5,000 available. That's very limited, certainly. So what we did is we came up with some opportunities and some ideas, and a couple of the ideas were outlined in this. And so let me take it a step further. We do not have a department, that is correct. We are going to utilize and collect resources and get as much as we can to assure that there is enough information for our seniors, and we're going to disseminate it in the very best way possible. Cable station, things like that. Well, I'm going to work, myself, and the community development director is going to be involved, and other staff, because of the fact that she manages CDBG, and the Meals on Wheels program is run through CDBG. So basically what happens is she will get the drivers on track and get the assignments, and then she will receive the billing. Right now, I think that's just how it works, correct, Lori? And then the billing's processed through the county, so you'll manage that as well. And then we have the Wayne County, correct, involved in that. Can I just, before I jump into all the resources, can I just have Lori talk about Meals on Wheels? So I'm not all over the place.
Sure.
And then I'll talk about the dissemination of information, sir.
Just as a point of clarification, I know this is a heated topic, clearly. The CBDG program does not fund Meals on Wheels. Previously, all of the director's time, the reports, everything came through, but Meals on Wheels is a Wayne County program that is run by Wayne County. We have a lady by the name of Barb that comes to the towers. They prepare the meals, and we have 2 drivers that we pay. The individuals that drive have resigned, unfortunately. Fortunately today we had some people come in and apply, so we're not going to miss a beat. It's very grateful for that. The individuals that drive will be paid per hour. They will report to Barb. They will sign their timesheets. They will drive, bring the meals back. That will still continue. I'll make sure I get the timesheets and I submit them to payroll, so the men get paid. As far as the vehicle goes, Mr. Queening will be responsible for making sure that the vehicle is in good shape. It will be here at the City Hall building, so that's the only change. I actually talked with Mr. Van Stipdunk a little bit today about Meals on Wheels, and he had indicated that the commission really didn't have a whole lot of interaction in the past when it came to Meals on Wheels because it was a county program. So that's why I actually reached out to him for some help today to see if maybe they had any resources or someone they knew that could apply. So I thank you for that, Mr. Van Stipdunk.
Lisa?
I'm sorry, one more question. You
Can
indicated,
she answer the first questions first?
oh, you have, oh,
Is
yeah,
this on Meals on Wheels, though?
absolutely. And then I have one to follow up on, okay? Thank you.
Go ahead, if you want to.
Oh, I just wanted to
Yeah,
ask,
that's fine.
when you said a letter is going to be sent out, is this going to be sent out to every home in the community?
Yes,
No.
over seniors.
Yes or no?
Seniors.
Just seniors. So you have identified the seniors by name, as previously indicated?
Yes, what we've done is the city clerk went through the registered voter list and pulled out every individual over the age of 60. And what we're going to do is we will send one mailing per household. It's approximately 3,967 on that list with the doubles. And we are clearing out, so it's only one per household. So we're going to be reaching almost 4,000 seniors, whereas right now, our resources are limited that we don't reach that many. So it's actually going to be a bonus.
I appreciate that clarification, because previously it was the understanding it was just the members that had signed up for our senior services as opposed to the general population. So now you're indicating that the targeted individuals for this letter are registered voters that are over 60.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, through the chair, if I may?
Yep.
So this is, if I can actually, can I just read the letter slowly, because this explains the entire
Sure, yeah.
process, and I think this will help the council. So this is I'm not going to leave anything out. It says, as an important and valued member of the community, I want to take this opportunity, and this is from the mayor, to make you aware of some changes taking place with regards to the City of Wayne Senior Department and provide some important information about new opportunities just for you. Due to funding challenges, the City of Wayne had to make the difficult decision to eliminate the existing senior department located at Hype in the former Recreation Center on Howe. This is effective June 30th, 2019. Because we want to assure that you still have access to important programs and resources specifically designed for you, the city will be offering the following. Starting July 1st, 2019, the City of Wayne will pay the annual membership fee of $12 for you to join either the Friendship Center, located at 1119 Newburgh in Westland, or the Dyer Center, located at 36745 Marquette, which is also in Westland. All you have to do is sign up at one of the centers, and they will send the bill for your annual membership to the City of Wayne. Unfortunately, the city will not be covering memberships for both centers, but excited to offer the opportunity for you to join one. I'm also excited to let you know that both centers offer a variety of programs, including but not limited to daily congregate meals, travel programs, blood pressure and diabetes screening, health screenings, flu shots, massage, legal aid, educational seminars, access to tax consultation, alterations, Zumba, Tai Chi, movie days, chorus and choir, game night, shopping and casino excursions, quilting, line dancing, and more. If you are a current member of the Friendship or Dyer Center and have paid your 2019 membership fees already, the City of Wayne cannot reimburse you for that cost. However, the cost for your renewal fee beginning in January of 2020 for the Friendship Center, which has memberships running from January 1 to December 31st, and in September 2019 for the Dyer Center, which memberships run from September 1st to August 31st, will be covered if you choose to continue on as a member. Additionally, to assure that you have the most up-to-date information on senior resources available to you, the city is also making the commitment to better utilize the cable station for important updates, and we are working on a webpage on the City of Wayne website, www.cityofwayne.com, that will have information available just for you. Additionally, the city will have a dedicated senior resources area inside of City Hall vestibule. This will be actually on the wall on this side. We're going to change out the business aspect because we don't get a lot of businesses putting flyers in the vestibule, unfortunately. Many of the resources will also be available at the Wayne Police Station, Wayne Library, and other city buildings. If there are other resources that you would like to see offered that we may have missed but that are important to you, please do not hesitate to contact City Hall, or you can reach me, and I put the mayor's email. I also want to point out that the Meals on Wheels services have not been cut and will continue as scheduled for those currently participating in the program. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Mayor Racy. And then I put at the end of the letter the address and phone numbers for the Westland Friendship Center and the Dyer Center.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Mayor, if I could just add one thing to that, and I know you spent a lot of time on the Nankin Transit
Yes.
Commission. Just to close the loop on this, could we add that as far as the ability to, as seniors to use the service, the nominal fee, the number, so that they can actually, when they're reading this, they're understanding the full picture and how it all comes together in one document?
If I may through the chair?
Sure.
I think that's an excellent idea. I think the issue is that $5,000 depending.
That's not what he's asking.
Are you
No,
talking
just
about using the
indicate,
5,000?
He just saying-
indicate
just
that
saying that
there's
they
the
have it
outside service
available
to get you
there.
there.
Oh, I see.
It only
Okay, I'm
costs you
sorry.
$3 to
Sorry,
get
Councilman.
there,
Okay,
and here's the number to call.
I see what you're saying. I apologize.
That's a great
I know,
suggestion.
That's a
I know
great
Mayor
sug-
Racy knows the
No.
details on the
Yep,
Nankin
it's a
Transit
great
very well.
suggestion.
As a,
Absolutely.
thank you. I misunderstood. My apologies.
I like that.
Good job.
Anybody else on council? Mark?
I just had a question. For the seniors in Wayne to go over to the Westland Friendship Center, is the $12 just to get them in the door, play, put together a puzzle, or is there an additional fee, say like if they want to use the exercise equipment or other services? Because I've heard that total, it's like, I want to say $25, $30 on top of the $12. I know there's an extra fee if you want to use extra amenities, I guess you would call them. And what's the charge?
I'm going to let Councilwoman Skiff answer that because she's actually a member of the Friendship Center, so.
Thanks for,
Through the chair, through the councilwoman, are you a senior now?
I am. I actually am, by the terms of the Friendship Center. When you're 50 years old, you're considered a senior and you can join the Friendship Center. So as promised, I told you that I myself would utilize the services that I thought were good for everybody else in the community. So, yes, there is an extra charge to $25 if you want to use the exercise room.
That's for the year.
That's for the year. It's just, yeah, so it would be more. It'd be the 25 plus the $12 if you wanted to use the exercise room. It was not something that we currently offered here in our program, I believe, the one that we had in the city. So I didn't think that I don't really think that when I put the money aside, I was mostly thinking of membership, having a place for people to go and congregate and be involved in activities and trips and having access to things if they wanted to.
Well, I think, Mr. Mayor, what would be a good idea for our seniors, because I know some insurance companies offer silver sneakers on top of things, but I've got Councilwoman Skiff beat by 2 years. I would suggest taking that money and instead of investing it in Westland, paying for our seniors $11 a month or whatever to, so you get them a discount over at Planet Fitness. Support it,
There's more to it than just that.
Just a suggestion, but.
Yeah, so,
Thank you,
okay, so I understand that people are kind of looking like we're taking our business over to Westland and we're not doing it here. But the Dyer Center, what you don't understand is that's a Wayne Westland thing. It's not just a Westland thing, it's a Wayne Westland thing. That is services that is already yours. That belongs to you. So what we're doing is we're making it possible. We're paying your membership over there so that you can utilize a service that's already yours. So if you have a problem with the Friendship Center, go to the Dyer Center. That is yours. That is a Wayne Westland thing.
Okay. Vic?
Keep that thought. I don't have my reporter on this yet, Honorable.
Thank you.
What did you just say about who owns that? Just go on, we own that building? What did you say?
I said it's a Wayne Westland thing. It's not just a Westland thing, sir.
Oh, I thought we were talking about ownership. Okay, dear council.
The program is yours. It's something that you.
It's mine.
Yes.
Okay. It's mine. Okay. It's mine. Okay. It's yours too.
Yes, sir.
Just no more back and forth. Just, if you got.
As we,
Just ask your.
pardon?
Just go ahead and ask your question.
I had to check my shirt. In regards to this topic about the seniors, There's some young citizen behind me, and we are the senior people. We are the senior people. These, some people lived on fixed incomes, dear Kelly Skiff, and they do not have a piggy bank and to put $12 aside here and there. Under the Meals on Wheels program, and I think we have an authority back here, and I also have two commissioners that would apply this. Since you're seniors, there's a thing called the Ronnie Reagan Act. The Ronnie Reagan Act and the Older Michiganders Act and the Michigan Area Agency on Aging. I have not heard any word from any of the council here to instill. We're always looking for grants for photo cameras for the cops, an extra water hose. Your citizens are seniors. They need assistance. The young man back here that's talking, he's only been here 5 years. We're trying to make this comfortable for the people coming in at a young thing, and we are the seniors, and we should be able to help handle the rod off to them. Let's make our city clean. We here, the people are on fixed income. They don't have the extra money to put aside, and I think that's a great idea. Keep the money where it is. Take it over to HYPE. I read the budget, and I didn't see where that $5,000 was floating back. And also, in the anti-discrimination area, you said, or somebody mentioned it right here, that how did we collect that information? Oh, we went to the election thing, and we put up there. If you're a senior and you're not a registered voter, then you get denied the services because you failed to notify them. I say you notify everybody, irregardless.
Mayor, could we move to the agenda? This is a communication, a report, and shouldn't even have discussion.
Okay. Vote of council? Do we have to vote or just go ahead and?
No.
Just go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and move the agenda. We're moving the agenda. This is just this was just a communication report. So,
It's a,
yeah,
Are we moving the
yeah,
agenda?
just go ahead and move the agenda.
Moving the agenda. Item number 7 is general items. 7A is approval of a resolution extending the retiree health care stipend to employees who retired during the term of the existing collective bargaining agreements.
Okay. We need a motion.
Move to approve.
Support.
Okay. Gary?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about this resolution.
Just so people know that you're our labor attorney.
I am the labor attorney for the city from Keller Toma.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council
In general questions?
about this item?
Well,
That'd be 7A.
would this have any correlation with the ongoing lawsuit?
No. This is meant to cover those employees that retired during the current collective bargaining agreements, which are set to expire on June 30th. The retiree lawsuit was filed by existing retirees as of the date they filed the lawsuit back in 2017.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, any other council members?
Just for clarification, how many people does this affect?
I believe there's one, and then there's two. One of those individuals is, however, receiving health care elsewhere, so really only one.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions from the audience? Okay. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7B is approval of the revenue and expenditure report for period ending April 2019.
Move to approve.
Support. Any questions?
I'm sorry, who was the support?
Order. Any questions?
What was it, Wagner?
Audience questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Point of clarification, I'm sorry, I didn't get who made the motion and who seconded.
Motion.
Second. Wagner, then
Thank
Porter.
you.
I heard him.
So item number 7C is approval of a revenue and expenditure report for a period ending May 2019.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7D is approval of professional services agreement with Stantec Incorporated for operation and maintenance of the EQ Basin, annual storm water management services, and biennial reporting services to the state of Michigan.
Wish of council?
Move to approve.
Support. Mike, Mr. Byton, can you come up and just give an explanation?
Good evening again, Mayor, members of the council. We have a equalization basin in Josephine Park, which is about the size of a football field underground, which takes care of sanitary water when it rains. When rainwater gets into our sanitary system, it wants to overload our sanitary system. So that rainwater, that sanitary water during rain events is diverted into a large basin. That basin is maintained every year by Stantec. They are coming to us again for the same cost for the items 1 and 2 of the 3 items, their operation and maintenance of the EQ basin, as well as the annual stormwater management services. We do have a biennial reporting for our stormwater permit with the state. And in the past, we have had that amount of money separate from this agreement, but this year we're including that money in this agreement. So it's here before you that you can see. The net result is it's the same cost as it has been. So we're not raising any costs. We are just combining the biennial reporting services to the state with the other 2 items. This is the 22nd year that we've done this, and it's been very successful.
Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7E is adoption of the RRC Redevelopment Ready Communities Resolution.
Ms. Goen? All right, so hold on one.
Motion to approve.
Yep.
Second.
Support.
Okay, Ms. Goen, you want to give an explanation?
Basically, what you have before you this evening is a resolution just stating that you have agreed with moving forward on the recommendations made that were submitted to us previously. This actually should have been done when you had the report presented to you, and the individual that they had at in the RRC program at the time did not forward that to us. So we do have a new RRC individual now, and they noticed that we didn't have the resolution, so it's a housekeeping matter.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7F, approval of budget amendment 2019-07.
Wish of council?
Motion to approve.
Support. Okay. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Good evening.
Unless there's questions, I don't need to talk.
Any questions from anybody?
Can you explain the amendment that we're voting on?
Sure.
That'd be a good question.
So as we do every year, as close to the end of the fiscal year as possible, we take a review through the expenditures and make sure that there aren't any departments that are on target or are trending toward going over budget. Because if you spend money that's not appropriated, that is a violation of the State Budget Act. And come audit time in the fall, there will be a little audit slap on the wrist in the financial statements that you spent money that wasn't budgeted. So really, it's kind of a cleanup amendment, just to make sure that there's just enough cushion in each department so that they don't go over. And for things that, like on the revenue side, things that we know are not going to happen, we want to make sure that we dial back the expectation that that revenue is going to come in. So this is a perfect example of, and you've heard me say this multiple times, why we do not plan for revenue we're not very, very confident we're going to get. So in general fund this time, there are some adjustments down on revenues that even though we were being conservative in our budgeted expectation, they did come in less than previous years and less than what we were expecting, such as the rebate from MMRMA and the Local Community Stabilization Authority personal property tax reimbursement. So the MMRMA one was $150,000 less than we received last year, and we had budgeted same as. The Local Community Stabilization Authority. So this one's going to come in higher than we expected, but we did have to roll down the expectation because we know for a fact that it is $108,000 less than what was received last year, but we still have to make the allocation amongst the various funds that receive or that have a millage. So a portion of this has to go to the library, has to go to the refuse fund, has to go toward debt service. And so we've adjusted it for the full amount of the decrease overall, but we have to bump it back up for what general funds are going to end up getting. The bottom line is you're still projecting through the budget to incur a loss in general fund for the year. However, that includes the knowledge that we're not going to spend 100% of the budget by the end of the year. We're going to be 2 or 6% under budget on expenses. If it's a full 6%, that's $1 million. So even though the budget may be projecting a loss right now of 1.2, if we are 3 to 6%, you're looking at $600,000 to $1 million of expense. So lop that off the 1.2. If any of these revenues that aren't included in the amendment come in higher than what was expected, and there's still, even though we're 2 weeks from the end of the year, there's still a lot of work that gets done in July, August, September to record things back to June 30. We fully expect that there's going to be additional revenues that weren't budgeted. So fingers crossed, by the time the audit's done, the year ended June 30, 19, approximately ended up breaking even, which is fantastic given where you start the year. So that's what the amendment's doing.
Thank you for the explanation.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Hold on.
Sure.
Two meetings ago, you approved the budget for 2019-20, and Ms. Skiff, you amended that budget for $5,000 for membership for seniors at the Dyer Center. So where did that $5,000 come from? Where did you get that money?
Kelly or Brian?
Well, to answer your question, sir, so there aren't strings attached from every single revenue to the resulting expense. So it's not that any new revenue came in and we're saying this $5,000 is exactly this $5,000 of expense. It all does come out of the general fund. And the budget that was passed for 2020, the original budget does project a deficit for the year, as did 19, as did 18, as did 17 before that. And you end up, because you don't spend 100% of what's budgeted, and you budget the revenues very conservatively and hoping that they come over, the end result come the end of the year is better than what we anticipate at the beginning of the year.
Why don't you give us a two-sentence answer? Where did the $5,000 come from?
There's no answer to that question, sir. $5,000 they're planning on spending. The city has that $5,000 the same as it has money for any other expenditure.
The city doesn't have.
No, sir, that's not true. The city will have the money to spend $5,000.
Boy, in about 5 minutes, you confused everybody. Thank you.
Sorry.
They get paid the big bucks.
Anybody else?
You gonna leave that hanging?
Well,
Nobody
he
knows where $5,000 is
said,
coming from?
Mayor,
He
Mayor, he said
explained
it's
it.
coming from the general fund.
Yeah.
Why don't you say that then?
He did
did
say
say it.
that. He did say that.
It was in the middle of a lot more,
Thank you.
but it was in the middle,
Okay, anything else?
just to clarify.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Item 7G is approval of the sale of city-owned vacant land on Nyman Street, 55-010-01-02-003-303, and the amount of $1,500.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7H is approval of agreement with Wayne County for improvements to Walls Park, Taft Park, Angelo DeMario Park, Atwood Park, and Forest Park to be financed by Wayne County in the amount of $22,591.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions? Do you want to come up, Ed?
Get an explanation.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. All that this is anytime we have a Wayne County millage is what it is. It's two different dollar amounts. One was for fiscal year 17-18 of $11,500, and the other one was the millage we got from the county for $11,091. Those two millages combined are doing this, it says right on, or no, it says in my notes here, the softball material that was approved by the council several meetings ago. Anytime we have anything from the county like this, there's actually a dual contract that is, that we have to put before council. So they already approved the contractor to do that work. And now this is just the contract between the city and the county to be able to collect our money once we have the contractor come in and invoice that work back to the county to be reimbursed.
Martha Burgess. This is for the softball for the playgrounds.
Yes.
You told me loud and clear that Rotary One Park was going to get softball on their playground.
There's 11 parks altogether. This is just part of it, correct?
Okay, they have done nothing to prepare that one.
Well, there's a lot of parks that they've been going through.
Part of it is that we had our contractor, I've been in contact with them. Because of the weather, with a lot of the contracted work that's out there, whether it's landscaping or that type of work, they're kind of behind schedule, which is okay for us because we're not prepared yet. Some of those parks need to have some of the weeds knocked down and gotten rid of. We've already done two parks, or we're working on two parks, I should say, Waltz Park and Seroptimus Park. And so as we get them done, the contractor is working with us to meet our schedule to help us out. That they'll come in and do a couple of parks as we get them prepared. So it will. Oh, okay, right, correct. So that's why with this funding here, we're going to be able to do all the parks in the community.
But there's other funding too. This is just part of the funding that we are using for.
Correct. This is just part of the funding. The other part came from the Recreation Foundation.
Yes.
To cover the costs. I think it was $40,000 for softball for all of the parks.
Yep.
It's a work in progress.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7I, approval of a purchase of a sewer cleaner for Department of Public Service in the amount of $379,359.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions?
Just real briefly, I think I did some work for this company a couple years ago, therefore I will be abstaining on this vote.
Mayor Racy,
Okay.
can possibly Mr. Queen just kind of give a little bit of synopsis of this item and that explain to the residents that this has already been budgeted for out of the budget.
Sure. Mr. Queen?
Those $400,000 there, we need to kind of want to explain where it's coming from.
Correct. So this has already been budgeted for out of our water and sewer funds. This is a piece of equipment that is one of our most vital pieces of equipment. It does a lot of our sanitary sewer cleaning. We have a camera that does televising as well. All these things, we do catch basin cleaning. We use it for hydro excavating if we have to, if we're around utilities where we're not able to dig. So all those things, the first three that I mentioned, the catch basin cleaning, televising, and the sewer cleanings, whether it's storm sewers or sanitaries. The sanitaries are mandated by the state that we try to accomplish a certain amount of footage each year of making sure we're maintaining our sewer system, which we do. We always meet it every year. You'll see there the monies, I think you all have a copy of it. This was actually a $429,000 piece of equipment. I believe we budgeted $500,000 with our trade-in of $50,000 of our old jet. It brings us down to $379, and that's replacing a 2010 piece of equipment that we have.
Mayor?
Yep.
Through the chair to Mr. Queen, would you also explain why it's not out for bid? I've got several people questioning and wanting to know why it's Sourcewell, what it is. Although we just approved it not very long ago, could you give a brief summation of that, please?
Correct. Let me find that here. Let me grab a piece of paper here that I have.
Of course, that asks a question as before.
So Sourcewell is what it is. It's a government agency that allows National Purchasing Cooperative that establishes an alliance between the buyers and suppliers and provides services without having to go through extensive bidding processes. And what it does is it makes them come in with their best price, really, as low as they can come in, possibly, and still make some sort of a profit. Sourcewell, we got with them, Dehaney, the current Vector we're going with, they're also on the Mitten website as well, but we didn't find the piece of equipment that we were looking for that they actually had on this other site here. And so we went with the Sourcewell one here. It's, like I said, they have to give you their best price, so it's showing you already what the value of the machine is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Through the chair, I just have two questions. The 2010 that we were replacing, was that new back then, or was that one?
It was new back then.
Okay.
What the procedure was, or what we were trying to stay with years ago, is that these certain pieces of equipment that we purchase, we had a 5-year turnover rate to purchase a new one after 5 years, partially because the depreciation on the piece of equipment is actually a lot better after that 5-year mark. So there was always a buyback kind of that you would purchase again from that same supplier, and your monies on that buyback would actually benefit you when purchasing your new piece of equipment, just like you would with the value of a car or anything like that. So this one got up to, like I said, when the city kind of the funds and everything started to be depleted. We actually had an equipment fund and things like that that had to be used up to help pay off a lot of the other things. But we were on at that with all of our dump trucks and things like that. Otherwise, what ends up happening, you get beyond the life of that vehicle sometimes, and then the depreciation, you don't get as much back for your vehicle when you trade it in. And then you end up spending a lot more money as well in the maintenance of the vehicles, and they're not cheap for the larger vehicles that we purchase.
So can I assume that in 5 years, we're going to be trying to purchase another one, or do you think?
That would be our hope, that we are, staying ahead of this now with the current, 5-year plan as far as what we're doing with water and sewer fund monies, and try to put that into the program that says in 5 years, we would want to be looking at a new piece of equipment then as well.
Any other questions? Nancy? Come on up to the,
When we had our sewers in the south side of town slip line, because we have great big main sewers in behind our houses in the alley easement, my neighbor said that at least once a month, they would come and check the vacated Washington Street main, which was right beside or behind her garage, if you want to think it that way. But they haven't been coming anymore to check it. It was inspected at least once a month.
Right, and so what that Mrs. Pride is referring to, we actually do that, depending on our manpower. We used to do that every Friday, which we still do. It's a regular occurrence because in the past, when there were, the systems weren't rehabilitated like they should have been, slip lined or, kept up on our sanitary sewer, but we've been doing a better job at that. There were sometimes be some, you get a lot of grease in the system from the homeowners, so that's really not an issue for the city. That's not something we created. And so other occurrences like that would happen and you'd have backups. So we have a list currently of, 20 to 30 manholes around the city that we currently maintain on Friday. We'll go around, send somebody out, all they do is pop the lid, look in there, make sure everything, there's no, it's not, backed up or anything on some of these that were more, had some issues. We also check our lift station every Friday, which is located over there by Stellwagen, behind Hickory Hollow, to make sure, and we run it through some tests every Friday. And we also have 3 alarms in 3 sewers that used to be a problem way back when, but ever since we've been doing so much maintenance on our system, we haven't experienced any types of backups in those systems. The alarm float would be in there to alarm us, and part of that was involved the police station, but now it's just on us where we have it set up on our phones and different things like that to run through these tests on every Friday when we are able.
When you're doing maintenance on your car at your house, on your own, and you take oil or antifreeze, you have to put it in a container and you have to dispose of it properly. So you have a positive paper. Put in there how the homeowner is to take care of their grease out of their fry pans. Put it in a metal can, stick it in the freezer, and find some place for us to put it.
okay, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Oh, yep. Motion carries.
Item 8 is administration reports.
Oh, through the chair, just a couple this evening. So it's I'm asked at each meeting to follow up on questions from the previous meeting. And there was a question from Mrs. Brock at the last meeting about our closed sessions confidential, and I was going to leave that to the city attorney to answer this evening.
Thank you, Ms. City Manager. The question is, communications that happen in a closed session are confidential. They're ordinarily attorney-client privilege. There is the ability of the council to waive some of those privileges, but yes, they're confidential.
Okay, thank you. And then before I get to Mr. Mills' report this evening, I just want to apologize for earlier. I've had a chance to, certainly I try to take any sort of, I don't call it really criticism, constructive points. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Bensip Dunk for pointing out that I'm an avid writer, I like to write notes, and the reason I write a lot of notes, and especially in sessions like the previous one, sir, is because I do a lot of work for the council. I do give the council a lot of information. I know that they can agree, and I like to get information to them quickly because I have so many other things that I have to accomplish, and I don't have really a lot of time to watch the council meetings, unfortunately. So, but I will take that under consideration, and my apologies, sir, and my apologies for exchanging the hallway as well. But I do thank you. I will certainly be cognizant in the future of making sure that no residents feel that I'm ignoring them. I want you to know that I felt like that last meeting was very, very important. I felt every comment was important. I have 6 pages of notes. I don't have staff to do that for me. But I will do my best to make sure that I don't offend anybody in the future, certainly. But thank you for pointing that out, sir. I do appreciate it. Mr. Mills, if you would like to give your sesquicentennial minute.
Thank you very much. Tonight's sesquicentennial minute is on the Wayne Police. The area now known as Wayne was protected and served by Buckland Township, and then after October 28th, 1829, when it was formed, Nankin Township Constables. The first of these elected officers were Aaron Abbott, Aaron Thomas, and Joseph Young. Also serving were William Blaine, T.E. Deming, E.G. Pate, and Joseph C. Smith. Following the vote to incorporate as a village on April 12, 1869, Wayne elected its first village marshal. Mr. Stephen T. Curtis was our first elected village marshal. Duties of the village marshal included assisting the justice of the peace, serving legal papers, forming juries, keeping animals off of the village streets, keeping saloon patrons from becoming rowdy, upholding all state and village laws, and jailing people who needed to be jailed. O.N. Baker was appointed in 1879, followed by Edgar W. Pate, James Jameson, A. Howe, Joseph C. Smith, J.J. Downer, Roy Sosslayer, and Charles Gowdy. Many of our village marshals were also elected and served as Nankin Township constables. When in the village, any township constable served and assisted the village marshal. Now, in 1926, the Village of Wayne established a police department. In August 12th, 1926, Lawrence C. Knox was offered the position of police chief. He was sworn into office on October 1st of that year. Chief Knox was followed by Edward Yester, Walter D. McGregor, Raymond L. Lacorno, Fred Stafford, Art Morton, John Culligan, Michael Sumeracki, John Williams, Jason Wright, and Alec Masiag, bringing us to our current chief, Ryan Strong. To date, over 175 patrolmen have protected and served the citizens of Wayne. Now, the original village lockup was a small board building on the corner of Brush and Biddle Streets and was composed of 2 holding cells. Upon creation of the village police department in 1926, offices were moved to the village hall at One Town Square, our current historical museum, and 2 steel cells were built in its basement. No, they're not still there. They were removed, unfortunately. On June 16, 1950, a new state-of-the-art police station opened at 34840 Sim Street between the village offices, now the district court building, and the Wayne Nankin Library, most recently the Wayne Activities and Banquet Center. 8 cells and a 9th segregation cell for men and women were built in that building. In 1990, the current police station was constructed at 33701 Michigan Avenue East, just east of Howe Road. 8 individual cells, a segregation cell, and a detoxification cells for men and women are included in this facility. Thank you.
Thank you.
That'll conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments for matters not on the agenda. Citizens are to limit their comments or requests to 3 minutes. The City Council asks that if you do have a question or concern, to bring it to the attention of the appropriate departments whenever possible. If you feel the matter has not been resolved satisfactorily, you are encouraged to bring it to the attention of the city manager, and if still not resolved satisfactorily, to the mayor and to the City Council. The mayor City council and the department heads may not respond to the questions at the meeting, but will respond by the next city council meeting or as soon as possible, once they have looked into the matter.
Any comments? Lois?
I don't want to maintain the meeting any longer than it has to be, but I would like to second the comment that was made at the last meeting, which is that I wonder if you could look into having Veterans Plaza named as a park or in some other way finding funding for it, because it really does look awful. And we are going to be having an event there in August, and it's pretty embarrassing with
It's
the,
under construction currently. I mean, they're working on a plan to fix it. I mean, it's not.
oh,
it's
not, they haven't worked on the plaza yet.
No, they're working on the fountain right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why they took everything off. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would really appreciate that. Maybe if there's grants or something, that would be great.
thanks. Anybody else? Kathy? Yes.
Full credit, yeah.
I have a couple things. When Mr. Miller brought up about the senior program, that you had said something about Mackinac Island was discussed at the Chamber of Commerce thing at Mackinac Island a few weeks ago about senior programs.
Oh,
I think that's what he was talking about when he was asking you what you. thought
I'll
about
answer it. I don't normally do, but
That's what he was talking about, and he was,
So-
and if you had any
yeah,
comments on it.
TSA, Senior Alliance, they were up at Mackinac,
Uh-huh.
and we couldn't get meetings with them because the people we needed to talk to were in Mackinac.
You said you would get back with him, and I think that's what he was
And
talking about.
that's what I was, yeah.
The other thing is when Mr. Webster and Lori met with us, the commission, they had spoke about maybe having a recording on the telephone line, and you might want to include that in the letter. That's why I was going to comment when you were commenting about the letter, that there may be a phone number connected, maybe the same phone number that there's there now, where people could call and get some of that information from. And what was the other thing? Did you mention in that letter that they can't use any of that money till 2020? Like, you can't use it for the 6 months? Some people ask us if they would help pay for the 6 months from now till 2020, but
Only people that
Mr.
are already
Porter said they were
members.
going to start, and Lori, in 2020 for the,
Only people that are currently members can't, but you can start right away.
okay. And then I was wondering, have you, then,
July 1st.
old engineering building, you said there was an environmental issue. Do you know what that is?
It was asbestos. It was asbestos, yes. But we have another interested party right now
Oh,
we're working with.
yeah, okay, thank you. And I just wonder, you're going to get mad at me, John, but that's all right, it won't be the first time. I was just wondering why you are so adamant about not letting yourself or Tina tell who supported minutes and who seconded and supported. It's really hard to hear, even though I sit right in front because I like to hear, but it is really hard, and it only takes like maybe 30 seconds to say so-so made the motion and so-so seconded. And I would
Right, and
appreciate
30
if you would
seconds times 30
consider that,
seconds times
please.
30 seconds times 30 seconds
Yeah,
adds
thank
up to a lot of time.
I appreciate that if you do.
So, anybody else? One.
Nancy Pride, Courier Street. I know that you're sending out the letter, Lisa. And it was mentioned that you were going to send it out. Tina was looking up the voter registrations to send them out to those citizens. What happens to those that don't vote? They have just as much right to that letter as the ones that vote. Or do we not have that?
There's going to be other resources. It's going to be on cable, it's going to be on the signs, it's going to be different places.
I just, you're excluding people that shouldn't be excluded. Now, the thing on the Veterans Plaza, or the Peace Memorial, whatever way you want to look at it, the reason why they liked that area when the vets would have a get-together was because they had all that grass until we had the apartments put up. At no time will a military people stand in the street to face that rock that's facing the street. They will be behind it, standing on hollow ground. They do not stand on cement or asphalt. So that is a great way to put the rock, so that if people just drive by, they can say, oh, there's their Veterans Memorial. But if you have any programs there where they stand and you can put the band, the Wayne Band out in the street, but the military will not stand on that street or the sidewalk.
Okay. Any other? Oh, Eric, I'm sorry. I'll let you.
Had a few things. I'm a mentor for the Wayne Bionic Zebras, Team 3 and 3. It's a robotics team that Wayne Memorial High School has. They've had 3 tournaments this year. The first one we didn't even qualify to go into the playoff rounds. Second one we qualified but didn't advance very far. Third one we just had last weekend. We came in first place. I wanted to thank Councilman Porter, Mayor Pro Tem Porter, Councilman Miller, Councilman Skiff, City Manager Nurserini for all donating individually to the team. That helped a lot. And also Mayor Reza on behalf of the Rotary for a very generous donation there. The second thing I want to talk about was we have the Waltz Taft cleanup this Saturday at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I know that we've also got the Kicks leveling ceremony at 11 a.m. for anybody who's doing Taekwondo. And we've got the firefighter barbecue from 11 to 2. So if anybody's going to either of those 2 events, we're going to be going until 4. We'd like to see you when you're done there. We can use all the help we can get. Third thing is the Healthy Wayne Coalition is looking for new members. Their meeting is next Thursday. It's the 4th Thursday every month. It's at 8:30 a.m. at Hype until 10 a.m. They have a light breakfast at 8 a.m. complimentary, so if you want to come a little bit early, that's great. And my last thing was the playground build that we're having at Rotary 2 Park. That'll be next Friday and Saturday, not this week, but next week, starting at 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Currently, they're asking that volunteers be 21 or over. I'm not sure if that's changed. And they'd like people to stay for the entire day. They've got some things to go over in the morning. They don't want to retrain people partway through the day. So if anybody can help out at either the cleanup this weekend or the build next weekend, that'd be awesome. Thank you much.
Okay, thank you.
Just want to say I enjoy living in Wayne, but I work at the Ford factory down the street, and our hours of operation are 6 in the morning till 5 at night. So city office hours are closing at 4:30 or 5 every day. Is there any availability or option that we can look into in the future to maybe trying to do what the Secretary of State does and have a late day or at Saturday hours? Just something to mull over. Appreciate it, because once we've got the Ranger now, once we get the Bronco, we're going to be running like this for 3 or 4 years. And I know a lot of employees at my plant live here in the city of Wayne. So if you want us to buy our dog licenses, pay our taxes, whatever, handle any city business, other than being able to stay up late like I am right now when I should be sleeping, I mean, it'd be great to have some hours where I can come in and take care of city business and all that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? John?
Yes, I'd like to invite everyone this Thursday at 11 a.m., leaving from the museum, will be our first in a long time historic walk down historic Monroe Street to the viaduct on Wayne Road, and then back on Newberry Street. We'll have cards of what used to be on Monroe Street that no longer exists. And so you can see as we do the walking tour, we had a virtual tour of it at our last membership meeting last Thursday. And now we're doing the actual walking tour this Thursday at 11, and next week, Thursday at 11, we'll repeat the same walk. But if you would like to see what was historically on Monroe Street that doesn't exist, and what's at Newberry compared to what used to be on Newberry, we're leaving from the museum at 11 a.m. this Thursday and next week, Thursday. The tour will be repeated.
How long does the walk last?
We expect it'll be roughly an hour or a little bit less.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to personally thank Nancy Wojcicki-Noel for her many years of service and dedication, not only to our community, but our seniors. These folks are the bedrock of this community, as with the seniors before them, so that my generation can reap the rewards that they've sacrificed, put out there, the veterans. I know Councilwoman Skiff said that the Westland Friendship Center considered 50 a senior. Personally, I don't. I'm not being argumentative, so I don't want to give you that perception. I don't feel that I've achieved that status. I haven't paid my dues yet, as with these folks, Mr. and Mrs. Van Stipstock, Mr. Osborne, Joe, Mr. Miller, Mr. Porter. I know you're only 29, so.
Yeah.
Mrs. Pride, call her Mama Kathy. But I just want to publicly say thank you to Nancy. She's helped a lot of people personally when my mom was still here. As we all know, Medicare can be a nightmare. She found pharmaceutical companies to help provide costly medications, and that's what the tone was tonight with this streetlight assessment, because there are people out there hurting, on limited incomes, our seniors. So I just want to say thank you to these folks, that generation. And hopefully, when I achieve that status, I'll be sitting right there where these folks are. And pretty much in a nutshell, and I don't mean any disrespect, but keep giving them hell. Thank you.
I can't. Okay, if it's for, that's fine.
I'd like to thank Nancy and Chief Strong for the Crime Stoppers program and the police report that we had the other night. They did a fine job and it was well attended, and I thank both of you. I'm going to miss you, Nancy. God bless.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead and move the agenda.
Item 9 is items for next agenda.
Okay, move the agenda.
Item 10 is consent calendar. I have 10A, Wayne Commission on Aging minutes of April 9th, 2019, and B, Wayne Downtown Development Authority minutes of May 8th, 2019, and 10C, Wayne Planning Commission minutes of May 14, 2019.
Receive and file the above.
I'll support it. Should be
It should be a vote.
should be a motion. I'll support the motion from.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Comments from members of City Council.
Councilman Wagner, happy belated birthday, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Nothing tonight, thanks.
Councilman Dowd.
Oh, for me?
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to, again, thank all the participation tonight. I think it's fantastic to get feedback in any angle, in any direction, and we're here outside of tonight. You know how to reach us. Go to the website, email us, contact us, you know where we live, I'm sure. And most importantly, stated the facts on a lot of what we talked about tonight. I think it's very important. We talked about a lot of topics tonight. I want to say thank you to Mr. Mills. I truly enjoy listening to the history of the city. I wish I can get it on tape. And lastly, I want to thank Nancy. Got to know her a little bit. And I know that she endured a lot of change over the decades, and I think that she steered through it very professionally and with a lot of resolution. And with that, I'll pass.
Councilman Miller?
Thank you, Mayor Racy. I just want to point out that 2019 Windows of Wayne Photography Contest is now in play. As long as a picture is taken within inside the city limits, it's between the dates of June 10th and July 12th. And then they will be doing it during the U.S. Cruise, I believe, the Downtown Wayne Fest of August 9th and 10th. Also, I just want to point out, some residents have pointed out to me that as a reminder, please lock up your vehicles at night. You're parking them outside your homes, okay? It's happening. It's still happening. It's always going to continue to happen as long as we don't stay vigilant and do some of the simple things of locking up. Yes, some of them do get broken into, but we need to just do some of those simple precautionary measures that will eventually, they're not going to come around, okay? Or it's going to, they're going to go somewhere else. And so I just want to ask everyone to make sure you're locking up your vehicles. Try to park in your driveway. Get back to using your garage, quite frankly. I don't know how many people use their garage for other things other than their car, but by God, let's get back to using the garage for our car. That would help cut down on some of the vandalism that we have going on. At any rate, with that, I will pass.
Okay. Councilwoman Skiff, happy belated birthday, by the way, too.
Thank you. Just to comment on the senior thing, I don't really like to consider myself a senior either. It was just a way for me to access the services, so I know that I've got a long way to go to before I reach the status of several of those in the community. So I just want to say I've been hearing a lot of fireworks going off already. So I just want to remind, actually the month of June is nationally known as Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness. So just want to remind everybody, Michigan, I believe, does have a new law on the fireworks. When you can and you cannot let them off. Please be aware that we do have members in our community that have served in the military, probably have also seen, have been in war. So we want to be mindful of those who have served us so well and not do anything to trigger that. And really, with that, I don't really have anything else. And thanks for coming out tonight, and see you in 2 weeks.
Councilman Webster.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Rockwell, to expand on your question, you asked about the message. The thought was the old phone number that went to senior services. What we would like to do is just have some sort of recorded message on there for those that maybe we don't reach with the letter, that just gives them an overview of kind of what's going on and direct them where they could go to. Yep, well, I just wanted to clarify that, so that was out there as well. It was also mentioned earlier about we're looking for drivers for Focus Hope. It's always important, even if we do have some established drivers, that we do have some backup, because there are certainly people that cannot do it every day. So please visit the clerk's office to get an application. As it was mentioned, the community build is coming June 28th and 29th. It's going to be from 9 to 5 each day. They're looking for a minimum of 16 volunteers, and you can sign up by calling 734-722-2001, or you can email waynevolunteer@cityofwayne.com. And I just want to end with both myself and Councilwoman Skiff attended the school board meeting last night. It started about 7 o'clock and it went till about 11:45. It was a very long meeting, but I will say there was quite a few students from Wayne Memorial that got up and spoke. And those young men and women showed a lot of courage. They were very composed. They were literate. They had a lot of wit to them. Those kids should be proud of themselves for what they got up and did, because that was not easy to do. And not only that, but some of them didn't necessarily get up and speak for themselves, but they spoke for some of the graduates of Wayne Memorial that could not be there. And kind of a constant theme that we had heard last night was, these were students that were going out to Duke, to Michigan, Michigan State, Georgetown, Howard. I mean, our kids from this community are going on to do great things. So I just want to kind of commend Wayne Memorial and the production that we're getting out of that school. I know a lot of things were said last night in terms of them not meeting expectations when it comes to math, when it comes to reading, comes to other things, but that's not what I seen last night. So I just wanted to point out that those young men and women did a great job. With that, I'll pass.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Thank you, Councilman Webster and Councilwoman Skiff for going. I took the easy way out. I sat at home and it was live. It was easier and was much more comfortable than sitting there, especially for that amount of time.
Snacks while you're watching.
Yes, could even have a beer. I also attended the police meeting and the Crime Stoppers. I want to thank Chief Strong and Nancy Knoll for putting that on. That was a very informative meeting, and I really enjoyed that. I also want to thank everybody that came and spoke tonight, especially about the street lighting assessment. This is how we learn what you, the residents, really want. That, and if you don't communicate with us during the week or what, it's left to the council meeting. So if you have questions, I'm sure that all of these council people up here will be happy to try and answer them. I answer quite a few. I tried to get John's last night. I didn't do a real good job of it. I'm sorry, but I try and answer as many questions as I can. So please communicate with us. That's what we're here for. We're here to represent, and we are citizens of this community also. I don't want to pay that tax any more than anybody else. I'm on a fixed income too, but you know, it is what it is. So with that, I'll leave it go.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to thank John Mills for inviting me to the Rosie the Riveter dedication of 5 rose bushes tonight. That was a really nice ceremony, and I wish I could have stayed longer, but it was super nice, and they dedicated to in memory of 5 different Rosie the Riveters of family from the community. So that was really special. And there was actually some Rosies that were at the ceremony, and they had a bagpiper and a shindig, and I even missed dessert, so that I had to come to the council. But don't miss dessert if I can help it. But also wanted to mention the playground build. There will be lunch provided for the people that participate in that. Captain Nemo's is going to be helping out with that, and Fresh Choice is going to be helping us with beverages and chips and stuff. So a couple of great community partners that wanted to work with the Rotary and with Beaumont and the city. So I appreciate that support. But we need anybody that is able, that can come out. If we have more than 16 volunteers, it just goes that much faster. But altogether, we can really make a difference. And this is a $45,000 investment that Beaumont's investing in our community, and it's costing the taxpayers nothing other than us coming out and putting it together, and we'll have it for years to come. So I really appreciate everything from them. And I too got to watch the board meeting on Facebook. I actually had to send a message to Mayor Pro Tem. Could you find another feed? I just lost my feed. So he was able to point me in another direction, but I saw other council members. We were not the only 2 that were out there last night, and I saw a variety of community leaders that were all paying attention. I mean, names would pop up, and if you were friends with them, you could see who was out there. But I think everybody's paying attention to what's going on at school district, and I hope it all turns out well. And I also wanted to thank Nancy for her service to the community. I know she'll be missed by all of us, and I know there's a lot of seniors that will miss you, Nancy, and thank you for your service to the city. With that, can I entertain a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.